Dan Passarelli here. Well, there is not a lot of news on tap this week. We've got a couple of Fed speakers speaking, and that always has the potential to move the market, but no real major news scheduled for this week. So what is moving the market this week? Well, we are relying on technicals this week. And there's been some interesting things going on. Now, last week was pretty interesting. We actually had 3 gaps up. There's a little gap right here, and then another one here, which is something you don't see all that often. And it seems like there's a lot of strength there. But you look at the relative strength index and you see that it did pick up some steam as far as strength goes, and it didn't get into the overbought area. But we're kind of flattening out today. We've got this little doji right here. Now, another thing that happened last week is the S&P 500 went through 200-day, 21-day, and 50-day moving averages. Now, that is definitely a show of strength, although the moving averages aren't really in necessarily the right order here. We've got the 21-day below the 50-day, but above the 200-day. So that shows not a whole ton of strength either. So one more thing to look at, of course, and I mentioned this, I believe, on Friday, is that we've got the VIX decidedly below 15 here, and that some people will look at the inverse relationship between the VIX and the S&P 500, but it is more of a tail than a dog as far as the tail wag the dog analogy goes, and just because the VIX is low does not necessarily indicate a higher move up. So where are we? Well, we basically hit resistance right here at this level thus far. We've been in a bit of a downtrend for a bit with lower highs and lower lows, but here we've got just up to the last high, basically. I guess it could go just a smidge more. If we turn around from here, there's the potential that the downturn can continue because it's maybe not technically exactly a higher high. But if we do go higher and make a new higher high here, then, hey, there's a chance that we could still see the market run a little further. All that said, additionally, the earnings announcements were well over 85% of companies in the S&P 500 have announced their earnings. So we're going to start getting into the retail sector, which is interesting because in the cyclical trade-off between growth and consumer discretionary stocks, retail is going to fit into that latter category. So that could be interesting given the continued rise in interest rates up to this point where we have a little bit of uncertainty as to what rates might do going forward. So that's my commentary just to kick off the week and set the tone for what goes on the rest of the time here. I hope that helps. This is Dan Passarelli, TradeSmart.